to get it. So I won't do that. The other thing that they talk about is what they have and what they're building and what they can sell you. Their neat new stadium, their neat new project. I don't have a project. So I'm failing on both accounts. So I'm going to give you 3 takeaways. Something about life. And at the end of the day, you're going to spend an hour listening to me. You want to hear something that maybe touches you as students, not necessarily my neat new project. Something about sports. Second goal. I'm here to talk about sports. So we'll talk a little bit about sports, the business of sports, and how it exists now in the 21st century. And then since we are in a law school, we'll give you something about the law. So 3 small takeaways from this whole speech, and you'll pass the test. But the first part about life, and I think I've alluded to it before, and I put this picture of the school up here for the particular reason, is my life is one of happy accidents. It's the only way I can describe it. I came to Cumberland a little bit by accident without great plan, and it's the best decision I ever made in my life. And when I left Cumberland, what did I do? I knew I wanted to work in sports, so what did I do? I immediately became a prosecutor. Who knew that the work would find me then, right? No, all young lawyers do something else. And Professor Boland asked me at my 5th reunion, what didn't we give you when you graduated? You didn't give me 5 years experience. So I will say something to everyone who's a student sitting here, just for a second, that this school is a wonderful place and will give you every tool that you need to succeed beyond all your expectations, because it has for me. But there will be that 5 years, and I'm going to use a hockey metaphor in Alabama. Okay, follow me for a minute. In hockey, the puck gets dumped into the corner and they have to kick it out to get a shot. The first 5 years of your career as you move out from here will be grinding in the corners trying to get your shot. If you're really, really good, maybe you'll get it at the end of 3 years. Maybe it'll take 6 or 7, but I promise you that and I promise my own students this, that your first job won't be your last, and your career won't be defined by the first thing you do. It'll be defined by everything else you do from there. So if you're sitting here thinking, worrying about the bar exam, worrying about where I'm going to practice, what I'm going to do next year, why the heck is this guy talking about sports and talking about my life? I figure I have to tell you a little bit about life. I am the best example of an accident. I was an accident coming to Cumberland. I was an accident starting in law. I was an accident starting in sports. And I was an accident becoming a professor. I was an accident meeting my wife. I was an accident living where I'm living. Every good thing that has come to me by accident. But what's been the trajectory of those accidents? My plan of design, where I wanted to go in getting to those places. And I think I will leave you with that. Close counts in life. And I'm incredibly happy and incredibly fortunate that things have worked out in that regard. So Cumberland gave me a great start. It will give you a great start. So I'll say that about that. But no, I didn't expect to end up where I am. So here's my piece of advice about life. Don't be afraid of those unexpected turns. The winds that blow you places, different places, and my life certainly got blown in a lot of different directions, and I was living in Staten Island wondering, why in God's name am I here? And I was working in a DA's office, and I didn't understand why I was there. Then I was working for a judge, and I still didn't understand why I was there. When is this all going to sync up and make sense? Well, sure enough, Michael Vick gets arrested this summer on animal cruelty, and it made sense, right, for me? Who knew? But don't be afraid of those winds, because they blow you where you're supposed to be sometimes. And I would tell you, don't be afraid. Embrace the changes, embrace the opportunities. This school meant a lot to me in that regard. So now we'll start with a quiz. I'm a professor, right? Who am I going to call on? Is there such a thing as sports law? Does it exist? Professor Strickland, you're smiling. Can I call on you? Can I change roles?
I knew you were going to do that. 50-50 chance. Yes.
Anybody want to take the converse of that position?
No.
Excellent. Who wants to go for a Y? Well, I'll go for the Y. You got me here. I would have said 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, the answer to that question was no. I think today, as I stand here in 2008, I signed a paper, but I really told me it was 2007. Today, as I sit here in 2007 or stand here in 2007, I'm actually fairly convinced that there is now such a field as sports law. And here's why. I think the answer is, Bob needs to learn how to do PowerPoint. There we go. The answer is complexity. Sports used to just be a field of law that brought together a number of other fields of law. It brought together contracts. It brought together property. It brought together torts. It brought together labor law. It brought together antitrust. Always a big antitrust component in sports, because essentially what you have 32 competitors or 30 competitors acting together in concert. So sports leagues, and they're almost always natural monopolies. So sports leagues always have the cartel problem to begin with. So they always have to find a way around antitrust law. Players have contracts. Players are represented in unions. Broadcast deals come on. Communication law comes about. And it used to be if you were an expert in one field, you could handle your field. And the sports league, the sports team, the sports entity would find you. What has become true, I think, over the last couple of years is that sports entities now have such ongoing, pervasive